So, you've got this brilliant, eco-friendly idea. You know the world needs it. But here's the thing. Between your brilliant idea and getting it into people's hands, there's this gauntlet of rules. And depending on how you navigate it, it can either completely kill your product, or it can make it a massive success. Today we're going to break down how you get through it.
You know, creating something amazing, something that could actually make a real difference, well, that's just step one. And believe it or not, that's kind of the easy part. The real challenge is navigating the incredibly complex world that's waiting for it.
And that brings us to what we call the regulatory maze. It's this whole system of rules that honestly feels like a really high-stakes game where the path to success is definitely not a straight line.
Now, this maze isn't just a bunch of red tape. It's a dynamic environment that can lead to two very different outcomes. On one side, you've got these dangerous hurdles that can just stop your product cold. But on the other side, you've got these incredibly powerful tailwinds that can push you forward faster than you ever thought possible.
Okay, so first, let's talk about those hurdles, the really risky side of this gauntlet. Getting compliance wrong? Well, it's not a small mistake. The consequences are serious, and they can be absolutely fatal for a new product.
I'm talking about things like your product being outright banned from the market before it even reaches a single customer.
Or you could be facing financially crippling fines for not being compliant.
And you could get stuck in these endless approval cycles, which just kills your momentum and lets your competitors race right past you.
And what's really interesting here is just how specific these triggers are. It's not one big, vague rule. It's a whole series of tripwires. Think about it. Everything from the exact chemical formula of a cleaning product to whether your packaging is safe for food, all the way to the specific claims you make on your label. Every single little detail is under a microscope.
But here's where the whole story flips. For every single one of those risks, there's a reward. If you figure out how to navigate this maze correctly, those exact same rules can go from being a barrier to being your single greatest advantage.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly, right? It's literally two sides of the same coin. The very same system that penalizes a non-compliant product with bans and fines will actively support and accelerate a safe, eco-friendly one with incentives and policy advantages. It really is a choice.
So what do these tailwinds actually look like in the real world? We're talking about real, tangible benefits. Governments are actively encouraging things like biodegradable formulas. So many countries are pushing for less plastic and more refill systems. And in growing markets like Pakistan, they're even providing powerful incentives for local manufacturing, which creates a huge competitive edge for anyone who produces in-country.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. This isn't just some temporary trend. These rules are part of these massive, long-term forces that are fundamentally reshaping the entire global market, for good.
This timeline just makes the direction so clear. It's a one-way street. We went from having just basic safety rules to today, where strict environmental laws are the standard. And the direction we're headed is undeniable. Regulations that focus on sustainability and public health are only going to get tougher.
And what's driving all this? Well, the data is pretty clear. The global push for sustainability, that's the biggest piece of the pie, followed very closely by a growing focus on public health. When you put those forces together, they're creating a future where being eco-friendly and compliant, well, it isn't just an option, it's becoming the main factor for success. So, this all brings us to the most important question, right? How do you actually win this game? How do you make sure you are on the right side of these huge trends? Well, it all comes down to a pretty simple three-step playbook.
Here it is. First, you have to master the basics. Stay compliant with all the safety and chemical standards. That is totally non-negotiable. Second, you lean into the future. You design your product from day one to be eco-friendly. We're talking biodegradable formulas, refillable packaging. And third, you use your location. If you're producing locally, say in Pakistan, you use that status to get government support and cost advantages.
You know, this single quote really just captures the whole point of what we've been talking about. The choice is yours. You can see all these regulations as a roadblock, or you can see them as a roadmap. Being compliant, safe, and eco-friendly isn't a cost. It's a strategic decision to make policy work for you instead of against you.
And that really leaves us with one final question to think about. As the whole world keeps shifting towards sustainability and safety, maybe the single most powerful competitive advantage isn't just having a clever idea, but having the discipline and the foresight to build it the right way from the very beginning.